Like to call the Joint Special School Building Committee to order. We're at Nashua High School North Lecture Hall, Thursday, July 22nd, 2021. At now 7:04 p.m. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Dow.
Present.
Alderman Wilshire.
Here.
Clerk is here. Alderman Clee.
Here.
Alderwoman Lou.
Here.
Ms. Raymond.
Here.
Ms. Bishop is out. Ms. Brown, out. Ms. Gilio
Here.
and Ms. Johnson.
Yeah, that's an easy name, Johnson, isn't it? No one can make a mistake with that.
We have a quorum. So if there are no objections, I'd like to make a motion to waive the previous minutes of reading of minutes of July 24th, 2021, and place them on file. Remarks by chairman. Okay, couple of important things. One, the meeting in August will be at the Fairgrounds Middle School. At 6 p.m. we will do a tour. Hopefully it'll be 99.5% complete. We will then have the meeting right afterwards. The exact location is yet to be determined in the school, but we'll figure that out between now and then. The other thing is, I want everyone to know that doesn't know, that we now have a signed purchase and sale for the last piece of property for access to the new middle school. We will have a couple minor things to do, cross the T, dot the I's for the closing, but we're good to go. We now have, as part of the purchase sale, have total access to that property for whatever we need to do. And so, as soon as we have the AOT approved by the state, it'll be turning Harvey on to good to go. Okay, I think that's it for my remarks. School administration, Mr. Smith.
Yes, Mr. Anthony indicated he had other engagement to attend, so he couldn't come tonight. Then I just want to draw your attention to a clerical error that I made last month with the invoices. So you made the proper approvals for all the finances, so that the numbers that were shown on the agenda were correct. However, on the financial sheet for Pennichuck Middle School, for surveying, you approved $1,028.50. I only had $802.50 on my financial sheet, our financial sheet. And then for commissioning services, you approved $5,696.56. I had $2,200 on my financial sheet. So on this month's sheets, there's a little asterisk on those two lines. And that's just to indicate that I've made that correction. So we're up to date as of the new financial sheets. I just want to draw your attention to that.
Okay, very good. Now we'll move on to the architect's report. Harriman, Jamie. Ooh.
Good evening, everyone. I've got a little report. I think everybody has a hard copy in hand. Give a little update on each of the schools here. Today's agenda will again go through Fairgrounds and Pennichuck, both under construction. And then in the design side of things, we have a little update on the new middle school and a very brief update on 55 Franklin Street. And then we'll review the project schedule. Over on Fairgrounds Middle School, most activity over there really is in construction side of things. So Ken will share some of the imagery and work that's going on over there. But over the next week, 2 weeks or a week from today or so, Harriman will be over there, the engineers and myself reviewing, doing punch list, kind of final punch list of many of the areas. I think the one trade that will come a little bit later will be the civil work, and we're coordinating that with Harvey on schedule when to be out there for that. So the punch list is going to be going through and making sure that the building and site coincide with the documents that were provided. And we have done several areas already. It's just kind of finalizing some of the areas that are being completed in the next coming week here. We were on site today and reviewing the retaining wall that was previously included in the project at the front of the building was built, and the old earth that was stripped away left some kind of staining on the foundation wall that was there. So we were reviewing that today. It was a condition that was not able to be seen before. So we're reviewing that and seeing how to remediate that. I think one of the things that we'll do is probably try to clean it up first and see if that helps. And if that doesn't work, then we'll try to find some alternative options for that. Again, no solution has been found yet, just kind of reporting that we're reviewing that. Since our last meeting, we had some meetings on site, and there was a desire to add an additional outside basketball hoop. And so we revised a little bit of the layout there, the existing, the single hoop that was being placed was there. We had to expand the court a little bit in order to provide a second hoop. Otherwise, you'd just be playing within a short period of distance there. And so that Harvey's working on that to get that in right now. And I think it's going to be a nice addition to the school. I hear the kids really enjoy playing hoops at that court. And then a light furniture update. Speaking with Mr. Smith earlier this week, it looks like the furniture for fairgrounds is going to be sometime in September timeframe. As Mr. Smith reported to me he doesn't report to me, but as he stated to me, he's met with the furniture installer and Principal Coffee, and it seemed like it worked pretty well for what she was anticipating. So I think the scheduling will work out quite well.
Just FYI, we're using the old furniture until it gets there, so.
Thank you. Yeah, so the old furniture is there and usable, and that's what Principal Coffee was intending to use in the meantime. At the Pennichuck Middle School.
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to use the old furniture till the new furniture comes in. So when the new furniture comes in, how are we going to place it without disrupting the day of the students? So
Because it's going to be done on the weekend, and
A weekend.
Sean can cover that.
Okay, that's what I wanted to find out.
Yes, the furniture will be delivered on a Friday, and they'll do the installation on Saturday.
So who's going to do the install? The furniture company?
Yes,
Okay, and we're going to have staff on to come in
yes.
over the weekend?
Yeah, we'll remove everything out of the classrooms and other spaces on Friday, and then they will move all the new furniture in on Saturday.
So Friday is going to be our personnel, and they're also going to be in the building on Saturday.
They'll pre-stage the new stuff coming in, they'll pre-stage, but we'll be taking everything out on Friday.
So it's going to be
after school.
overtime for us.
Yes.
Not good. Thank you.
Yes. Mrs. Raymond.
Thank you. Just to follow up to that, what happens to the old furniture?
At this point, it's headed towards the landfill. There's some pieces that are still usable. I know the art tables are still in pretty good shape. I sent an email out to all the principals earlier this week, seeing if there's any interest. There is some interest. I will take a look at the rest of the furniture. I personally viewed some, Jamie's looked at all the furniture. Most of it's seen much, much better days. It'll probably end up in a landfill.
Okay. I'm just wondering if there's stuff that is still in usable condition, if, first our schools, but then if there are any community agencies that might be able to have some benefit from them.
Much like the lockers, if there's anybody that wants it, they can come get it, and we won't have to take it to the landfill.
Okay.
But
I would agree with Mr. Smith that a lot of that furniture that we are replacing is in need of replacement. And then some of the other areas are areas that didn't have furniture before, like the commons areas and stuff like that. That furniture is non-existent, so it'll be a nice feature for that school to have some of those community or school community areas. So
Thank you.
I've also part of a facility network across the state, and we all, when something becomes available, we ask everybody else in the state if you like it, after we find out there's nobody in our own town.
I have one more follow-up question.
Yes, Mrs.
Okay.
Johnson.
This overtime, is this coming out of the school budget, or is it coming, how's this going to be paid?
Out of the bond.
Out of the bond? Can you pay personnel like this out of the bond? Is it bondable? I didn't think it was bondable. I didn't know furniture was even bondable. There was a
Furniture
time,
definitely is bondable.
there was a time that you couldn't bond furniture.
It is now,
It is now,
Yeah.
the state law?
yeah. So
What RSA is that?
I have no idea, but it's all been cleared by Mr. Donovan and Mr. Fredette, so.
But personnel salary can be overtime?
Sean, I don't know, how did you intend?
It'd be a mixture of overtime and on time. We have our people already working second shift. So, but they also have spaces to clean, so it's, yeah, I'll speak to Mr. Donovan when he comes off of vacation.
Yeah, I think we all need to know this, and I also, I guess, get in touch with Mr. Fedett. I don't know, I don't think he's allowed to return calls or something, I don't know. Because I'd like to know when furniture became bondable, because I remember in other projects, it was not bondable furniture.
Back in the high school, this project here, 20-some odd years ago, we bought a lot of furniture
We bonded the whole thing?
Yep.
through the bond, yes.
I don't, okay. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right.
Otherwise, it would have come out of the school budget. So, no, it's bondable.
all right, moving on to Pennichuck Middle School. Working now. There we go. Again, I mentioned construction's underway. Harvey's doing a lot of work over there. It's incredible to see that site if you haven't been by recently. As you can drive by, I don't think you can get on the site, but it's pretty incredible how much work's happening. I know they have. Well, I won't share his thunder. I'll let him speak to it. And Harriman right now is continuing to review submittals and responding to questions from the field. I know there's been quite an influx of submittals. We've got through quite a bit. There's still more coming in, and we're trying to respond to those in a very, very timely manner to keep Harvey moving quite along with the things they need to order. We also are working on a couple of minor plan adjustments. There is some exterior fencing near the gym storage area that needs some adjustments and replacement. So we're looking at how to do that and the feasibility of doing that. So we're reviewing that at our house inside at Harriman. And also had a meeting with Principal Falzerano a couple weeks ago on some administration area adjustments that were desired. So we are looking at that. Not completed yet. I did have a meeting with him and Mr. Smith on it, and we're just trying to finalize that. But I really have no indication whether that's going to be an add or a deduct or a wash, because it's actually some pretty straightforward adjustments, doing some trade-offs in one area for another area. And I also had a meeting with athletics on the gymnasium, as well as Principal Falzerano a couple weeks ago, and just clarifying the center court logo and what they would like to see there. There's a logo that's put in the center of the gymnasium at most schools. We did one at Fairgrounds and Pennichuck, and there'll likely be one at the new middle school. But I hope it's public, but if it's not, it's not like it's a big deal because it's going to be on the court. But there's a little logo there. The P, I think it's similar to the one as I saw driving in here for the Titans. So very similar imagery. It's going to look really nice in the middle of the court. Coordinated some line work on the court as well. And also reviewing the existing side courts. Those were not being replaced as part of the project originally. There's been some concerns about the safety of those existing ones that was brought up during that meeting. And so we're reviewing to see what it might mean to replace those.
Question? Oh, Alderman Lou?
Thank you. Just the submittals, are those bid submittals?
No, those are submittals are for, in my terminology, I guess, would be the product literature and shop drawings for the products that are going into the school, the pieces and parts of the school. So like a piece of millwork like this counter we have right in front of us would come in with a shop drawing and some information on usually it's what we specified, but it's providing more direction to make sure that it's what we intend to have installed in there.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Just so you know, any scope change, up or down, comes before this committee, so.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you both. Yeah, and I mentioned it simply here just to kind of discuss the meetings and stuff that have been going on and discussions, but certainly once the price comes back, it'll be reviewed here before any approvals go on. Anything else on Pennichuck before I move on? Okay. And then in design over on the new middle school, Harriman continues, and actually many entities on the project, not just Harriman, are continuing efforts, but we are continuing efforts on the construction documents. We later on down the list here, we talk about when those are going. So I'll get there in a moment. But on site, we had an on-site conservation committee meeting yesterday on site. So they were reviewing some of the existing potential vernal pool areas and wetland areas. And reviewing, what the site looked like and some of those pieces. There were a lot of questions that came up. We're looking to address them, and there will be a follow-up Concom meeting on, I think it's the first week in August is when it was.
There's a meeting Tuesday.
For this project?
Director Marchand asked me to attend the meeting Tuesday.
Okay.
You and I can talk about it, but we're going to be working with the Conservation Commission to make sure that we go out of our way to make sure we protect any and all wildlife.
Yep. Or
ponds or whatever.
And then as for this project scheduling review, and kind of an update for the group here, the land acquisition, as Alderman Dow had mentioned earlier, is purchase and sale has been signed, but there's, like he said, there's a few other steps to get to the final point. But so that's kind of I put that as continuing, but it's looking good right now. And then city planning and permitting is in process. The documents for planning board are intended to go to the planning board on 7/29 for the 9/9 meeting. Environmental permitting, which is through New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. There was a meeting this morning with NHDES to kind of give them an introduction to the project, or a little further introduction to the project. We talked about phasing of construction and what that might look like, the work that was happening, just to help the process to get that approved through the Department of Environmental Service and the entities that they work with can be a little time consuming to some level. So we're introducing it and trying to have that pre-conversation to help expedite them and get them familiar with it. It's sometimes easier to talk to some, instead of looking at drawings and trying to understand what the thought process was. It's easier to just discuss it, and we did get some good feedback, good questions that'll allow us to make sure those are in the document so that they can expedite their review. And so those are in progress and intended to go out here in the next week. Then document issuing, pricing, and approval. So next steps would be the site pricing set, which is going, I think that's going either tomorrow or Monday. And then building documents. So the site's going early so that Harvey can start getting pricing on that and getting that geared up. And then the bidding documents will follow up on 8/13, and they'll start pricing that. And then, of course, they'll be back here once those numbers come in to get to review the project and get approvals as needed. And then at this time, construction mobilization and construction is intended for late 2021, which is late August, early November. Some site work will happen. And then the start of the building, I believe, is sometime in early spring of 2022.
Any questions on the new school? Yes.
Thank you. First of all, how much is the labor, how much is the lumber costs and everything gone up? Have we seen, excuse me, a significant increase over the last several months?
Everything's been going up, but lumber's starting to come down again. And we're hoping the other things will be coming down before we're in a position to have to buy them, but that's all in the pricing.
The contingency pricing, in case, is it in, what, is in the contingency just in case it went up? We built,
Have contingency in case it goes up, but the pricing right now is fine.
it's fine? So we're still within our budget?
Oh, well within our budget.
Okay. Also, documents going to the planning board on 7/29 for the meeting 9/9/21. Is this the Conservation Commission's going to give a recommendation to the planning board for that area?
No, the Conservation Commission gives a recommendation to the zoning board.
To the zoning board. I get my boards a little mixed up. It's been, it's been a little while. Okay, and then the zoning board would make the decision and about the conservation.
Yeah, they would make a decision on any recommendations that might have been given to them by Conservation Commission, and at that point, we'll be working with the Conservation Commission to take care of any concerns they have.
Will we be seeing any of the questions or concerns from the Conservation Commission? The board here?
We can, yeah.
I don't know if anybody would like to see it, just kind of get an idea. So we're aware, so if any of our constituents ask us any questions, we have that idea.
That just happened last night, but as I understand it from Director Marchand, that the majority of the property was fine. They had a couple questions about the vernal pool, but we're willing to work with them to address any of those concerns. But other than that, they should
That'd be
fine.
pretty interesting, I think, for us to kind of get an idea of what the concerns were and make sure everything goes smoothly as a board. Thank you very much.
Yep. Alderman Lou?
Thank you. What prompted it to go before the Conservation Commission? Is it within a buffer?
No, the Conservation Commission asked just to have a tour of the property.
Oh. So none of the construction really impacts what they
None
have
of the
purview
construction
over?
impacts them.
Oh, okay.
They don't have any input on the construction.
Okay. Thank you.
All set? All right, thank
Yep.
you. And then I have a very, very light update on 55 Franklin Street. And it's two notes there, but the entry ADA ramp design was sent to Harvey for review and pricing, and I think it's gone back and forth a little bit based on a finding that there was, I think, a sewer pipe or something under one of the designs, so we had to revise some designs, and but that's gone back. I think it went today back to Harvey this morning for them to look at pricing for that piece. And then we are looking to schedule a meeting together, and we have scheduled it for early August. I should be clarified, there's a lot of we's here, but the Harriman, Nashua schools, and Harvey are going to meet and just kind of review the what the scope would be for this project and try to nail that down and discuss it. And I think once that's all kind of been determined, I think that would be brought here to kind of review with everybody so that everybody's familiar with what the intent of the project in the end, construction-wise, would be.
Just one thing I think everybody knows, maybe not, that the Treasurer Fredette is retiring, and he's leaving by the end of October. Yes, Heather?
Thank you. I'm just curious about the Franklin Street timeline, because I think we were hoping to have our collective preschools instead of being spread out through the city in that one building, and also the Brentwood Academy in that building at the end of August. How is that looking?
Mr. Smith?
We'll have partial success. The Brentwood will be on the third floor. There's no issues with that. We will have the preschoolers from Broad Street will be on the first floor, and associated staff. We cannot have preschoolers on the second floor until we have the emergency egress towers installed on either side of the building. So all the other preschoolers will remain in their respective schools until such time as those two towers are built. And that will be part of the scope for that Jamie was just discussing.
Okay, and this might be a question for Mr. Donovan next week when he comes back, but I'm just curious, we did have a preschool at, I think it was at First Church in Nashua, so that's not one of the ones that's going to move, so we'll have to renew that lease if possible.
So no, the preschoolers at the First Church, I think it was, have now been moved to Broad Street.
Okay,
We're still making use of the facilities that are there, the playgrounds, et cetera.
oh, good. Are we able to move any of the playground equipment from the various schools at some point over to Franklin Street? Not the big playground equipment, but I'm thinking, Birch Hills preschool has like little tiny, like plastic preschool sized.
And we haven't looked at the small stuff. The big stuff we really can't because it's
Right.
in sonotubes and concrete, and it's very difficult. We can look at smaller stuff.
Okay,
We already approved the playground equipment for Franklin Street. The handicap ramp we're discussing probably won't be ready for the beginning of school, but I spoke to the building department downtown, and they says we have a handicap accessible entry in the back of the school, and that will suffice until such time as we have the new ramp in place.
okay, so we aren't going to have any ADA issues if we have students who need those, that access and that assistance starting right away.
Correct. Yeah, they just go to the rear entrance, and there's a functioning elevator. It's been inspected. We're good to go.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
And just kind of wrapping up here, kind of giving a diagrammatic look at what that schedule is. Not much change other than I moved the line of where we are, and you can see the civil pricing documents for the new middle school kind of land. I couldn't get the line to line up directly, but it should be lining up pretty directly. And then you can see construction starts out for the new middle school. We're in the middle of Pennichuck and near the end of Fairgrounds. So that's it.
All right. Any questions for Harriman? I think you'll get a lot more level of detail of the work that's being done when I turn it over to Ken. While he's setting that up, there is a lot of work going on, particularly at Pennichuck and
All right. Good evening, everybody. Ken Lemarier, Harvey Construction. I'll take you through, as Jamie mentioned earlier, I'll take you through all the construction progress on our side of things. I'll start with Pennichuck, and then I'll move into Fairgrounds, and you guys will get to see Fairgrounds next month in person. So over at Pennichuck right now, this is an old aerial photo. I hope to have a new one for, per Alderman Dowd's request for next month's meeting. The north portable up near the entrance of the school, that has now been demolished and will be the place of the new learning commons when we begin that work next spring. So that is now no longer there. The south bus loop and utility work has been completed. So you can see at the bottom of the school near the walking path that has now been paved and will be ready for the opening of school for bus use. The north drive lanes, utility work, and parking areas are all in progress right now. And again, that'll be complete for the opening of school, base paved and temp striped. My superintendent and I are meeting with Principal Falzarano in the morning to review all of the site logistics and address any concerns that he and his staff might have for the fall. And we'll make sure that we incorporate any of additional signage and maybe some helpful wayfinding items that we can incorporate into our design. And we'll be sure to get that out to all the parents and staff, so on day one, everyone is on the same page, hopefully. So the boiler room and chorus addition right now. So just to give everybody just a quick reminder on the phasing for the construction of the school. So the first two portions of the additions that we're addressing is the chorus addition, which is located, thank you, Jamie. That'll be complete in October of 2021. The boiler room will be complete for heating season of 2021, so end of September. The new boiler is arriving. I did confirm that today, middle of August, so that's a good sign for everybody inside. The South Addition is currently in progress, and you'll see more photos showing that. That'll be complete March of 2022. And then the next area that we'll be working on is the North Addition. That'll be complete, showing right now, probably early June of 2022. That'll give plant operations time to get in, and we'll be able to commission that space and give people some time to get acclimated for the school year of 2022. And then finally, the Learning Commons, kind of located in between where the portable classrooms are. That'll be complete in December of 2022, and that will kind of conclude the project.
And one portable's gone.
Correct. So I just kind of mentioned the South.
Mrs. Raymond?
Oh, no, you can finish if you're not, I thought you were changing slides.
Oh, no, still got a ways to go. So the South Addition right now, you'll see the photos. The foundation has been completed. All the underground plumbing and utilities inside of the building is complete. The steel erection's in progress. We have a couple more weeks of that. And then once that is complete, the concrete slab will follow. The steel for the chorus and the boiler room has been completed, and we'll be placing the concrete slab probably at the same time as the South Addition. All of the existing rooftop units that are on the existing building have been removed, and they'll be installed over the next week or two, and will be ready for the start of school in the fall. We're also renovating the nurses area at the interior of the school, and right now we're performing all of the framing and the in-wall rough, and that will be complete in a few weeks in August, and also ready for the opening of school. One of the main challenges this summer was in order to heat the school with the existing school with the new boiler, we had to get above the ceilings, try not to create a mess, and run a new hot water supply and return throughout the entire building, through all the corridors. We were able to achieve that, so we'll be wrapping that up within the next few weeks and begin the final cleaning process, which will allow us to start the boiler up in the fall. And then again, I just mentioned the interior cleaning that'll take place in tandem with.
Mrs. Raymond, did you have a question before we jump?
Yep.
Because the other slides are also Pennichuck, but go ahead.
Sure.
But they're outside pictures. I looked ahead because I'm that kind of person. So my question was about fire suppression, and I remember us talking about this probably 6-8 months ago, that the old parts of the building had a wet fire suppression system, which had leaked in the past, and we wanted to have a dry fire suppression system. And my memory is now cloudy because COVID has happened in between, and I just want to know, when we open school, what fire suppression there is. Do we have to worry about leaks again? And if you could just refresh my recollection
I'll
on
let
that.
Ken give you the details, but we'd have to have it done by the fire marshal. Go ahead, Ken.
I assume there's something. I just wanted to know what, because I can't remember.
Right, so if you recall, I think it was last summer, because I think my mind is cloudy too now, but we did we did repair the existing dry sprinkler system last summer while we were there working in the security vestibule.
Okay.
So the existing school does have sprinkler coverage and has been reviewed by the fire marshal.
Okay.
So the dry system is up in the tops of those Vs, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's because of the temperature and stuff. It's a dry system unless there's a fire
See, I
or a
had it
test.
exactly backwards,
And,
so
and the
thank
wet
you.
system is underneath in the school building.
Okay.
And there'll be a complete new system in all the new wings.
Correct.
Okay. Excellent, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then I had one other question about access. I drove by there and I saw all the big equipment and all the stuff going up, and I was very excited. I didn't attempt to park anywhere, but I'm curious about access to the fields and the paths behind for anyone who wants to park and go in. How do they do that?
You cannot park on site.
Okay,
The site is closed. You can park on the other side of Henry Burke and go across the bridge, and there is a fenced-in trail to the fields.
okay. So the parking would be over by the church there?
Yes, on the other side of Henry Burke.
Okay,
And the basketball court and the tennis courts are closed. They're locked.
okay. All right, thank you. I knew that there was access, I just,
It's for safety, because, believe me, there are a lot of vehicles moving around on that site, and they won't see tiny cars or less tiny people.
yeah, it looked very busy, so,
And since the bus loop at the south of the school has been completed, the walking path has widened considerably. So there's a lot more room than there was before we were able to complete that. So again, when the school reopens in the fall, all of the parking lots will be base paved with asphalt and temporary stripes, so the parking lots will be open and useful.
all right, thank you. I was just curious, because I'm nosy, so I drive by there all the time. Same thing with fairgrounds. I'm like, oh, what's going on?
We see
So-
your truck. The big truck.
It is a big truck. It's my husband's truck, though, and he's back to work 3 days a week in the office, so I'm stuck with my little blue car again. So I'm like incognito now. All right, thanks.
Any other questions on this slide? Okay. So here, for those of you who haven't looked ahead, this is just some of the photos. So this is what the interior of the foundation looks like before the slab goes down. There's still some dirt piles that have not been fine graded, but if you visited the site lately, you'll see a much more complete product here. So this is just showing some progress of what things look like before the slab is poured, and the photo in the upper right is kind of showing what all the plumbing looks like below the slab before it's inspected.
Yeah, the steel work is done on the boiler room, the chorus room, and
Right.
oh,
Yep.
okay.
So this is the boiler room in the upper left. That's that steel's been completed. The detail work will be complete this week. The chorus room is further along. That photo in the lower right is the vapor barrier that goes beneath the concrete slab. That allows so no moisture comes up from beneath the concrete. So I believe that was actually inspected today by the commissioning agent as well. So the aerial photos will reflect these changes. You'll be able to take it in a little more.
Any other questions on Pennichuck before we move on? Okay.
Moving over to fairgrounds, as Jamie mentioned earlier, we really only have maybe 2 or 3 more weeks of work to go here. This is a photo of the new fairgrounds middle school sign that's been installed at the front of the building. So we'll be addressing any of the open Harriman and Harvey and Principal Coffee punch list items with the trade contractors, and that list has gotten considerably shorter. Jamie mentioned Harriman will be performing their punch list next week, and we'll be also taking care of those items over the next few weeks. There is one remaining science room. You'll see some photos of that will be complete in the first week of August. The gymnasium is looking great. You'll see a photo of that. The gym floor is almost installed. Then will be final cleaning, and again, we'll be wrapping up everything on site early August. Final paving, all the striping, cleaning of the exterior items will also be done week of 8/2. We've met with the commissioning agent, with the plant operations as well, and that making sure that all the new and existing MEP utilities are operating properly. That'll also take place the first week of August. And we'll be going for all of our city inspections and life safety inspections with the fire marshal next week, next Thursday, I believe. Here's a photo of the exterior. So if you've been by there, you'll notice that a lot of the plantings have been installed. All that remains now, we'll be installing, there's pea stone that also goes in the front of the school, and the new granite benches have also been installed as well. The lower right-hand corner is on the 7th grade wing, a new retaining wall that Jamie had mentioned earlier. You can see the staining on that wall. We did actually meet with Jamie's project manager today, and we did come up with an idea to kind of parge that wall, so that we did find a good solution to hide that staining after we do clean it.
Since this is in the front of the school and we're trying to make the whole front of the school look nice, it didn't seem right to leave that like that.
So again, everything will really start to take shape over the next 2 weeks at the front of the school. Here's kind of an alternative. I just wanted to show kind of a design feature that Harriman has included. I believe there are a few in the Pennichuck design as well. It's kind of an alternative to a traditional skylight. So in areas of the building where it's kind of dark and you can't really have an opportunity for a window, so this is an option. It's kind of like use of mirrors, and they kind of reflect the light down into the space to get some natural light in there. So these 4 units are actually in the Family and Consumer Sciences room in the Tech Ed wing of Fairgrounds Middle School. So it's kind of a nice feature in there. It brightens the room up quite a bit. Here is a typical science room. So these are obviously further along now than when I took the photos last week. Again, these will be complete first week of August, similar to all of the 5 previous science rooms that we have turned over. I think this is the thing that's everyone's going to be most excited about, the new gymnasium. A lot of progress here. The space looks great. All the overhead gym equipment has been installed. Yeah, you can see the acoustical panels that are installed below, and the new windows. It's kind of behind the banners as well. Full new paint job, everything. The new athletic floor and bleachers. Bleachers will be installed after, I believe, the first week of August, and the new paint job with the new school logo will also be over, I believe, next week. Here's some progress photos from the gym floor going in. We're pretty close. I was there this morning, and it's 95% complete, and then the finishing process will begin. So you can see the picture on the upper left kind of shows the concrete slab before the subfloor goes down. The plywood is in the lower left. That's what goes beneath the nice maple floor that you see. Any questions?
Any questions?
Progress?
I was there this morning, and the floor is not 100% done, 95+%. They were guys with hammers and things putting that floor in. So a lot of work being done. The Pennichuck School looks like the activity you'd see in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. There's stuff going on all over the building, and that's why it's very limited people from the school that are there. So, okay. Anything else, Ken?
That's it for the construction update.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Did you do the change orders, Ken?
Yeah, so those are the next two items on the agenda. So everyone should have a packet that I handed out. These were included in the attachments that were distributed electronically, but I just wanted to make sure everybody had a hard copy. Okay.
Everybody's awake now.
Yeah. Okay, so the second item on the Harvey agenda here is a prime contract change order number 3, called a PCCO. And again, to remind everybody here, these are, a PCCO is comprised of all the previously approved PCOs that were approved by this group. So this is more of a formality, so it can be included in the billing. So again, these are all items that have been reviewed and presented and approved by this group. So this is PCCO number 3 for Pennichuck Middle School, and it includes PCOs 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 15 for a total of $97,616.88.
Okay. And there is the credit is explained down below. Okay, is there any questions on the PCCO number 3, or do I have a motion to approve PCCO number 3?
I'll make that motion.
Alderman Wilshire makes the motion to approve PCCO number 3. Are there any questions? Seeing none, everyone in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the next is change order 16.
Correct. So this is a potential change order, we call them a PCO number 16, and this was an item that was presented to Alderman Dowd, I believe last week.
Yes.
And this was revised sewer design. So we had a sewer design that was purchased with the design documents, and we ran into some underground existing conflicts that were with existing drainage pipe runs that needed to remain. So we came up with the help of Harriman and our folks in the field, we were able to come up with an alternate solution, which allowed us to avoid using a pump system, which would have been very expensive. So this was an alternate route that was decided upon, and the total work so there is a credit associated with this work, but ultimately there was an add for the amount of piping that needed to be installed. So it's highlighted in the drawings that were attached in the change order. If there are any questions, please let me know, and I'll be sure to answer them.
Yes.
Thank you. When you originally did the design, do you do a camera down the sewer pipe so you see which way it kind of goes? Like, is that how you do the design?
Yeah, so typically, so Harriman will do the design and they'll issue it to us. The issue here, and yes, they do use a camera to explore. The issue here was with sanitary, there was, you always have to have adequate pitch to allow the water to drain. And there's an existing reinforced concrete pipe that was larger than was anticipated, which didn't allow us to install the pipe as designed with the pitch that was given to us.
It's an existing drainage that goes from Manchester Street all the way down through Hayden Green. And it's about 36 inches or bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to avoid it.
So the existing sewage drainage, is that old?
That has to remain in place.
Okay, but the age of it anyway, is that an old, that never been upgraded?
Talking about the large pipe?
Well, I'm talking about the whole thing that we have to avoid, that we can't move.
No, that's in great shape. That's not, it's concrete
It's a
drainage pipe.
It's a 54-inch pipe. It
54-inch
serves
pipe.
the system, the rest of or other parts of the city. So it's not actually anything I believe the school actually even connects into, but it
Okay.
goes through the property. There's an easement that runs through the property. And the height of it was not exactly where we expected it to be based on the survey. So the drainage line we were designing wasn't able to pass over or under to hit the inverts at the drainage structure on site. And so working with Harvey and our team, we found alternate methods to get the sewage out of the new addition to the sewage system where it needs to go without impacting this 54-inch structure, which would be a major undertaking.
It's one of those unknown unknowns, and that's the reason the new media center's sort of on an angle, triangle, because we can't build a building over the top of that pipe.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right, I'd like a motion to verify my approval of PCO number 16 in the amount of $6,142.68.
I'll make it.
Mrs. Raymond made the motion. Is there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that takes care of that. IT proposal for fairgrounds and Pennichuck. That would be a member from the Nashua School District.
All right, so to complete the split pair removal or punch downs for the Pennichuck and fairgrounds, there are 3 closets that need to be addressed because split pair is really old and unused form of wiring in buildings, and it was a cost-saving method back in about 20 to 25 years ago. So to remove that and to bring all the connections from 2 connections down to 1 per wire, it's going to cost $5,612 at fairgrounds for 1 closet, and $19,271 at Pennichuck for IDFs 1 and 2, so for a total of $24,883. And the work will be performed by Telnet Technology.
Say that again, who's performing?
Telnet Technology, or TNT.
Okay,
Yep.
so you've heard the proposed expense that has to be done to upgrade the IT system at the 2 schools. That would be part of the bond. Any questions? Someone want to make a motion to?
I'll make the motion. I will be honest, I have no idea what you just said or what it meant. But I believe very strongly that we need appropriate wiring and cabling for our students.
Yes.
So
So
that's where
back-
I'm at.
So if you look at a regular network cable, there, I believe there's an even number. I think it's 8 copper wires inside, and there's a way you could split them off so you can actually take 2 connections with 1 wire, and it actually cuts bandwidth and performance. So we're bringing those back to 1 wire, 1 connection instead of 1 wire, 2 connections.
Okay.
Yep.
2 things. Could you just repeat your name again for some people?
Yeah,
that-
Greg Rodriguez, Director of IT.
At the Nashua School System.
Yeah, yeah.
And could you just briefly tell people what the impact of those changes would have on the IT,
Sure. So across the district, we've made this, this has been a priority for us to bring our split pair, which is the bad way of wiring, down to single connection. So the impact will be to improve connectivity, speeds for all the computers and network devices that are connected to the internet via wire.
So, can I ask a follow-up?
Mrs. Raymond?
So we have switched over to the Amplify Science curriculum, which is online for our middle schoolers, and we have a significant amount of like the world languages curriculum, and some of our other ELA curriculum is online, which the children access through Chromebooks. And I've heard in the past that there have been some issues with, like, if everyone's using it at once, it can be difficult. Will this resolve those issues?
So part of the project was to improve our wireless connectivity throughout the building. So at North and South, all the elementary schools, we've upgraded the switching and the wireless. So we now have high-density access points similar to the ones that are in this room right now, which can hold per access point 100 devices per, as opposed to the older ones, which is around 25 to 30 pushing it. So this should be able to comfortably handle connections, including cell phones, Chromebooks, laptops, whatever.
Well, we don't particularly want the kids to be playing with their cell phones,
If
but
teachers
I
wanna-
do want them to be able to access their science curriculum.
Yeah, this should be a massive improvement for what they're used to, so.
Fantastic, then I make the motion.
All right, so, yeah, the short answer is out of the dark ages of IT into the light.
Yep.
So are there any additional questions? Yes, Mrs.
Johnson,
Johnson.
thank you. The easy name, we can't remember. The question, right now, you're saying you're combining it back to one
Yes.
system? How did we go to two?
How did we go to 2?
Yeah, why did that happen, or that we're going back to?
This probably happened when I was probably in 3rd grade. So I couldn't tell you why it happened that way, but it was probably cost saving because they figured out a way you can actually put 2 connections on one wire. However, their speeds back then, I don't even think they would imagine that it would be at the speeds they're at right now. So it's kind of like a turtle. Now we're at, a jaguar.
We
So,
would think that we'd be wireless. Everybody thought we were going to keep dialing up, right?
Yeah.
Now we're wireless.
everything's
Invention.
connected wires, regardless if it's wired or not. Everything that's connected by wire and it goes back someplace. So yeah, everything's wired.
Okay, so we had it in the middle schools, right?
We had it throughout the district except for
In
North
the
and
high
South.
schools also?
No, not the high schools. The high schools, when,
We built them?
yeah, with those closets, I believe when they were done, they weren't completed with split pair.
Okay.
But throughout all the other schools in the district, they were split pair.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Did you have a question, Alderman Lee?
Actually, more of a comment. I've been out of IT for a long time, but split pair was common. I worked for the Department of Veterans Affairs, and our entire system was done with split pairs. It was just common practice for the day and the
Right.
time, and so it's nothing that I think is unusual. I don't think our school system here did something that was out of the norm.
Yeah.
It was just a common practice. I think it was actually considered a best practice because it allowed you to bring the wires and
Yeah.
little easier system, but we had bigger cables back then
Yeah.
than the newer, thinner fiber optic kind of cables, so.
Yeah.
So Greg, I had a little discussion with Mr. Donovan, but is there a possibility that this particular cost be covered under the COVID funding?
I'm not sure. I'd have to talk to Mr. Donovan about that.
Yeah, I think, we think it might be able to, in which case we'd transfer the money.
Yeah.
But I don't know how close he is on the definition of how that money can be spent. The school district's got an extensive amount of money from that, but we don't know how it can be spent. I think some of it's going to be spent on Franklin Street. So it's just bring it up as a point.
Okay, well, we can follow up with Mr. Donovan about it. I know that there are, a lot of the funds, especially the Escher funds, are grant funds, essentially. So there's a lot of requirements for applying for those and for following up to really directly make the connections to how this is affecting our students and helping them with their post-COVID recovery. So I don't know. It's very complicated.
That's also why we had to add $77 million to the budget, because the way the new state law is written, if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be able to accept any grants for the police, fire, emergency services, public health, or the school department.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's complex. But we can follow up with Mr. Donovan about it.
yeah, Alderman Lute?
Yes, thank you. I'm a little foggy on how just because that's the way I am, not because of COVID or anything, on how these changes affect the contingency, because it seems like it's an increase in the scope of the project, and so I just wondered, could someone just review how that contingency, I thought it covered increases in construction costs, problems that arise that were unforeseen. And this seems to be a little bit, neither of those, but more like an increase in the scope.
This is actually to make the capability of the school the way it should be, to go along with all the changes we're making. And it is covered under contingency, and we have a very good reserve in contingency. This doesn't impact it at all.
Mr. Alderman Doe?
Yes, Mr. Smith.
Actually, we had the foresight to anticipate IT expenditures. Mr. Rodriguez and I and Harriman put together in our budget a line for IT. And so this is actually covered by that.
Yeah,
It's not coming out of contingency. It's an expense. It's,
Yeah,
we'll spend less money for fairgrounds than what we budgeted for.
Yeah, this is just. it was
So, yeah, I
part of the
forgot about that.
lines.
It's not coming out of contingency.
Thank you.
So I have just been told by one of our esteemed, outstanding state reps that it's RSA 33.3 that governs bonds. Real-time input data.
It doesn't specifically state anything to this. It's very general, so I have sent a legal inquiry to the New Hampshire Municipal Association.
I think we've been covering furniture for 16 or 17 years, because that's when these schools were built. All right. So I believe we're at the point, we do need a motion to approve, and it's made by Mrs. Raymond,
Yep.
in the amount of $24,883. If there are no additional questions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, and my bad, it's not out of contingency. I forgot we had the IT budget. All right. All right, so invoices?
I'll read the invoices. They're from the amended agenda. So yesterday, I believe we sent out amended agenda. There's only one addition to that, and that was an invoice from Page Street, who provides our ground storage container. So we have 3 invoices from Harriman, one for each of the 3 middle schools. That total $99,947.15. We have 2 invoices from Harvey Construction, one for Fairgrounds, one for Pennichuck. Those total $2,096,638.20. We have 1 invoice for Hayner Swanson for the new middle school for $394.80. We have 1 invoice from John Turner Consulting at Pennichuck Middle School for $910. They do the on-site testing. The aforementioned Page Street invoice for $95. We have 3 invoices from Vanessa and Associates. That's our traffic consultant. Those total $24,771.57. And finally, we have 2 invoices from William Scotsman. They are the vendor who provided the portable classrooms that have now been removed from Fairgrounds Middle School, and those costs were higher than what you normally saw every month. Those were the costs to remove everything from the site, including all the piers that were underneath the units. Those 2 totaled $79,700.30.
For total?
And the grand total of all that was $2,302,457.02.
2 cents. Okay, you've heard the invoices, so it's Harvey Construction, $2,096,638.20. Harriman A&E, $99,947.15. Hayner Swanson, $394.80. Vanessa and Associates, $24,771.57. Page Street Reynolds, $95. William Scotsman, $79,700.30. And John Turner Consulting, $910,000 for a total of $2,302,457.02. Are there any questions? Somebody like to make a motion to approve the invoices?
I'll make a motion to approve the invoices in the amount of $2,302,457.02.
Are there any questions on the invoices? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Comments by committee members. Actually, before that, one thing I forgot to mention up front is that as I think everybody knows, there's going to be a permanent traffic signal put in at the Pennichuck Middle School on Manchester Street. However, because of all the additional work that has to be done for the lane changes and moving poles and a whole bunch of other things, we are putting in a temporary traffic light starting next week. And it will be in place until they can get the mast arms and do all the final work on the intersection design. All right, are there any members by any committee members? Alderman Lou?
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm looking
Got
right
one
at
on each
you.
side of us, so I understand completely.
COVID.
I take it as a compliment, thank you. Actually, it's just more comments. One is I appreciate all of the traffic studies that have gone along with the project. It's extremely important. I whine a lot about Pennichuck, but that is my goal because it's right there. And I'm glad to see that the traffic light is coming in. I'm glad to see that we've had Vanessa doing all the things that they're doing at all the schools. It's really important. And I want to kind of make a comment about the furniture, the delay in, I just had to purchase something, a sofa, a sleeper sofa. We purchased it last night and it'll be delivered November 10th. So, and there's nothing special about it. It's just, it takes a long time to get things these days, so. But I really do mean it as far as the traffic is concerned. I think that, I know that you all look at it when it comes to that, but I think the average person, when they're thinking about putting up a school or putting up a building, they don't think about the traffic impact. And this is the time, I think, for us to look at how it's happening. And I see good changes over there by Pennichuck, so thank you.
Yeah, and Alderman Clee has, in the past, stood out in the middle of that Indy 500 Pennichuck intersection and trying to direct traffic on people that aren't paying any attention.
Yeah, I've lost my life almost once.
The other thing is, there are about 5 or 6 easements involved in the Pennichuck project. Not all of them are necessarily us. When I say us, like there's a gas tank, a gas storage unit that has to be moved off of Manchester Street on a Pennichuck property. And it's an easement between them and Pennichuck, which is in the final stages. I did have it reviewed by Attorney Leonard to make sure that we weren't impacted anyway. And there were several other easements, so I'm dealing with 5 or 6 different companies. It seems like every day. And I developed a spreadsheet for the easements, and it's helping Attorney Leonard keep her schedule because she's pretty busy. But we're dealing with Pennichuck, we're dealing with a solar farm developer on the Pennichuck property. We had to move poles, which amounted to an easement so they can put Consolidated can put a pole on the school property, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of work going on. Any other questions or concerns? Yes, Mrs. Raymond.
Oh, I saw Mr. Smith. Oh, I just wanted to say how pleased I am with all of those easements and all of the different companies, how everybody is kind of playing nice in the sandbox for the most part over at Pennichuck. Everybody has the best interest of the schools, in mind, and everyone's trying to work together to move poles and make sure things aren't impacting each other, at least on the surface, from what I can see. So I really appreciate the community engagement on that. And I also just wanted to thank everybody for making sure that temporary light goes up now so that people and the community can get accustomed to stopping there. They have a month to practice before we have students trying to cross the road there. So hopefully that will be enough time for people to,
And I
make
believe,
accommodations.
I believe as part of the temporary light, we're also moving the crosswalk to where it's ultimately going to be, right?
Yep.
The crosswalk's going to be moved from the north to the south so that the kids come straight across onto the school property sidewalk.
Yep, that's smart. I like that plan. I'm excited about it. And I'm also optimistic about the fairgrounds traffic and the extensive signage that has gone up over there. So thanks for all that.
I've been working pretty closely with Mr. Hudson, Dan Hudson, city engineer, and we'll be doing the paving next week at Fairgrounds?
The street or on-site?
No, on-site.
Yep.
Because they're trying to coordinate, they're gonna redo Cleveland Street too, so we didn't want either one screwing up the other one, so.
Right. So I'm excited, and as Ken pointed out, I'm apparently more obvious in my drive-bys than I realized. But I'm excited to see it all go and this focus on working together with the city. And I mean, I know we're all kind of the same, but getting all of the departments to work together so that our kids can have a safe return to school next month. And I just wanted to say it now because we only have that one more meeting before school starts, and it will be over at Fairgrounds. And I don't want to forget about Pennichuck, because I'm, awed by all the shininess over there. So, thank you.
Yeah, if we have it in the gym, it'll be really, really nice, but it's gonna depend on a number of things, not the least of which would be the TV coverage.
Right. We'll see what Mr. Johnson has for us.
Yeah. Any other questions or concerns?
Mr. Smith?
You gotta speak up, I can't see you all the way down there. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
I kind of hate to end things on a sad note, but you're probably unaware. Many of you probably saw this individual if you've been following our construction for the last dozen years. So Mike Halliday, who was the superintendent for Harvey Construction, passed away last month. Fairly sudden. He had some illnesses, but it went pretty quickly. Sadly, his father passed away this spring, and then his mother passed away like a month later, and then he passed away a month later. So it was like bang, bang, bang. So the Harvey family was very affected by it. He was a long-term employee, the longest employee. So he was the superintendent, head superintendent for Fairgrounds Elementary School, for Charlotte Avenue, for Broad Street, for Sunset Heights, and then Fairgrounds Middle School. So he had a big impact on Nashua and our school system. So he's going to be missed.
Thank you, Sean. To lighten it up, I could tell you, in between Nashua projects, we moved Michael to a school in Dover, and I never heard the end of it saying, when am I going back to Nashua? I want to retire, finishing up my schools in Nashua. So, and the long-term goal was for him to finish his career building the middle school. So, but he had a love for Nashua, I can tell you that.
We're working with Harvey, we want to do something, we don't know what it's going to be yet, but, he's had a large impact on all of our schools. And he'll be missed. We don't need a non-public. The next meeting is Thursday, August 26, 2021. At 6 o'clock, we'll be doing a tour of Fairgrounds School, followed by the joint special at Fairgrounds. And just before that, and I don't know what time it starts, but the back-to-school event will be at the library, and some of us will be coming over from the library to the school, so. Mrs. Raymond.
Sorry, quick question about the next meeting. And yes, everybody should know about the library event, their back-to-school event with All of our community partners will be there, and there'll be school supplies, and all the principals will be there, and it's not to be missed. But my question is about our meeting that we're all going to like run over to make it for 6. Is that meeting at Fairgrounds going to be open to the public? Like, is the tour open to the public? Is just the meeting open to the public? What should?
It's always have to be open to the public, but I don't think we're ready for a public tour. We're going to open it up to the joint special, anybody else from the Board of Education, anybody from the Board of Aldermen. So we'll be quite a few people going through the building, but at that point in time, it won't be 100% complete, I don't think.
Okay. So people who wanted to attend the meeting itself shouldn't start till our normal time of 7.
Right.
And we'll announce somewhere on the agenda, on the website, the exact location in the building that the public should go to.
Yeah, we'll probably have a couple of people running different tours rather than trying to have 30 people all going around at the same time. And there will be a time, an open house for the public to see the school as well, but not that night.
Not that night. I know, it's September, I think it was planned for.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. I just wanted to make sure I didn't want the entirety of Nashua running from the library to make it to Fairgrounds at 6 o'clock. So,
Yeah, and it's-
anybody wanting to attend that meeting should come later at 7 and follow the signs to the meeting place,
Yes.
which is good. It gives them more time to meet their principals and chat about the upcoming school year. So, thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Motion is to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 8:21 PM.